So I'll be busy.
Awesome.
Sorry, what?
Did you get to pick?
No, you don't get to pick. I wish I got to pick because I would pick Apartment 23 because I love it. It's so like my style.
You pick what?
Apartment 23. The full name is Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23. It's really funny. You guys should watch it.
It's ABC. We don't watch ABC except for General Hospital.
Oh.
So how does it work as a director on a show that's already established? Because you have your own style for directing, and then you have to go in and kind of almost mimic that style, so that way there's no like weird, unless it's one of those special stylized episodes or whatever. So how does that how do you do that as a director?
That's a very good question.
Yeah, you know, I tried.
Well, basically, whoever directs the pilot sets the style of the show. And so anyone that comes in after that, I mean, yes, you do have to mimic it, but there's room for you to kind of, tweak things here and there. But yeah, for the most part, the DP, the director of photography, it's usually their job to maintain the continuity of the way it looks. So yeah, it's different than film, because in film it's totally just your style and your vision.
So as a director, is that how is that stimulating, for you? Like you don't have as much creativity, or is it the challenge is trying to find the creativity within the walls of the style that's already developed?
Well, there's still so many other things that go into it, not just making your shots, working with a bunch of different actors. I mean, that's a challenge within itself, is coming onto a set where everyone already has an established relationship and trying to fit in. But I look at it kind of as being an actor. When you're on a different show, you have to fit that style of show. When you're doing a sitcom, you take that in mind. When you're developing your character, when you're doing a drama, you have a certain style. So I'm sort of used to already fitting into the mold of what that means.
But they're still hiring you to bring your vision to it.
Yes.
Even as an actor.
They are, but it's tricky. I actually asked my mentor that. I'm like, what do you do? Like, when do you start kind of putting your flair on it? And he said, third episode. Do not do it the first or second episode. You really just kind of have to be a good girl and just do a really good, clean job. But then later on you can start adding your stuff to the mix.
What kind of stuff would you add?
What kind of stuff would I add? I don't know, you've seen my movie. Maybe a little blood. Yeah, I like humor. Oh, there's someone in the back.
Will they be bringing you back onto the show? I mean, are we going to see you back on GH, or you're done? I hope not.
I wouldn't say I'm done. I would say, like I said, the door is open, and I've told them that, of course, I would love to be there anytime that I can. It just can't be full time. So if they can figure out a way to have me there, then I would love to do it. It's just I can't be fully committed to it just because of these other things.
Right.
But yeah, I hope so. I hope they figure something out. They figure out who's keeping me captive.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that would make sense because they brought Finola back on the show. But I don't know, what is she? Is it? Oh yeah, you don't even know. He's really good. His name's Anders, I believe. Oh yeah. He was like Sebastian, but even creepier.
Is everything alright?
Yeah.
How long ago was this?
20 years ago? But that's cool that you guys know who he is, because that's... Actually, Casey could have gone through a wormhole in time and saved me before the explosion. That would be hilarious. That would be a sitcom. That would not be.
His friends.
So I'm not on the train of liking to see Robin alive, because quite frankly I think it it totally cheapens all the work you guys did to greet, or Jason did to greet Robin. I mean, it's like cheap kind of thing where it's like Jason / you know, Patrick had this really emotional, grieving scene to be like, oh, the big joke's on you, Robin's alive, you know. But we know in the soap opera, 10 years later, Robin will be alive.
Well, he's never dead on a soap.
I know, but we already know that nobody ever dies on a soap. We already know nobody dies on a soap, so why show it while he's like spreading your ashes? To me, like, it's just total, I don't know, manipulation and
Yeah, I mean, there was really no way they could win. They meaning the producers. There was not really a way to do it. That's why I'm saying that conversation that happened, I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, I guess you're right. You know, you're right for the future. So I guess it just depends. I mean, I would like to keep the door open because I really miss working there and I would like to be there from time to time. But I do understand what you're saying. But I also feel like the way that I died didn't do justice to the character, the couple anyway. So it was more like my hope was that even if we left the door open, there was still room to do it right. And that was my reasoning behind it. Because the whole show is about that. I mean, it is, right? We and they, meaning writers, like we've tried so hard over the years to have our own story, and the only time we really did was on night shift. I mean, everything else was infiltrated.
It's not as much anymore.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's getting better because I watch the show now and I can be objective about it. But yeah, yes, it was. I came back to the show to save Jason.
Then it went away. It really wasn't. You guys were like a little, and they decided, oh, Robert has to die, so let's make this all about Jason. You only have more of the story.
I don't know. I feel like it was always about other people with us. I mean, it was about Lisa. It was, you know, yeah, it was always about other. I mean, we've never, like I said, I don't think we've ever really had our own story unless it was on night shift. I mean, like Jason and Sam, they have always had their own story. Like everyone. I just want to say I really like Kelly Sullivan a lot. She's like my new favorite actress. I love her. She's such crazy bitch. But yeah.
Yes.
Hi. I just have a question. How was it like working with Antonio Sabato Jr. when he was on the show? Because I know he was also a night shift.
Look at that smile.
I'm sure she's asking you that.
You worked with him too.
Yeah. Yeah, night shift. Yes.
Did I ever tell you guys the story about how he came to my high school dance? Oh, yeah, you heard that?
But the rest of us did.
First, tell her how it was like working.
I'm sorry. He's great. He's a really sweet person. He's very sweet.
Was that really your shirt that he put on?
Your shirt on him, let alone my shirt.
Oh, that's right.
Night
When he
shift,
came
yeah.
out, that was like a funny line. When he came out and said something. Can I take you out to dinner or something like that? I don't know. I don't remember. Yeah, that's it. Are you?
Yeah.
See?
Who said that line? He did?
He did.
But you're like, get that sexuality
You're like-
out of here, let me hear you roar, and then he goes, "Buy your dinner for her." Not that I know all the lines.
That was a really cute one.
Not that I can memorize all your lines.
Let me hear you roar. He's a very, very sweet guy.
He's
Very
nice.
nice guy.
Do you take the ones at night that are on? They just had the ones where Rick Springfield was hooking up with your mom?
Oh, like on
The ones at
SoapNet?
night?
No.
Yeah.
I
They went
didn't.
back to that same.
Eli Love.
Yeah.
I love. Yes.
You look so much. Goodness.
So silly.
No, he's a great. He was bad for a day.
Yeah,
Literally one day.
Showed up at your door and that was it.
Yeah, I was like, where the hell did he go? Yeah, I went to go get like a coffee or something. He was like, Dad? He's busy.
What is up with Bill Patrick getting on the scenes?
Yeah. There aren't?
There hasn't been any Patrick scenes at all, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I don't know, I think I've done like probably 5 or 6 episodes in 2 months, I think. Right?
But you rocked them.
Yeah, I think, well, I talked to, after we were kind of done with this stuff, I went and talked to Frank and just kind of, you know, talked about what we just did the last like month and did all that, and then we kind of talked about real quickly, nothing in particular, just kind of like, you know, we're gonna have to figure some things out, because a lot of what we were doing was still some of the old regime's kind of ideas and everything, with a mixture of their writing and their ideas. So it's like, some of it was already kind of set in stone. So saying that, I did work a lot, and I did need a little bit of a break, not as long as the break that I've had, but mixed with some dark weeks, I haven't really worked. But saying that, they needed to kind of, whatever they kind of plan on doing, which I honestly don't really know, I know a couple of small things, but they need to figure some other stuff out before we continue to kind of, and I was like, look, I don't want to be in scenes just to be in a scene. Like, if it's not going to mean anything and I'm just going to be there, then, you know, because of what we do, if I'm on the camera, if I'm like in a scene or something, that is my reality. I have to live that, and I have to own what I'm doing. So if I'm just in a bunch of random scenes that don't mean anything, then I have to carry that along. So if you're gonna put me in a scene, just make it mean something. Give it a comment, give it somebody that I'm talking to, make it like have a little bit of weight, and then whatever. Just don't throw me in there just to be in there. And that's what they kind of did. And he's like, well, we have to figure out what we're going to do anyway, so you're going to get a little bit of a break. So that's where I've been. It's a little bit longer than I wanted, obviously, but hopefully that turns around. I'm ready to kind of get back to work and do something different, or something, at least. So, yeah, I don't know what he's been doing.
Happened around during the transition of, you know, Frank taking over the
Exactly,
show.
yeah.
I mean, I only worked 2 weeks with Frank, so they had to kind of go back and, I mean, really think about just story-wise, not just like you're saying, not just work you, but think about what they're gonna do with your character.
Yeah.
So it takes a minute.
There you go, direct.
Yes.
Oh, I could.
So what did you do with all this time off?
Jeez. I recorded voiceovers. I just kind of, like, I had a couple auditions, and I was a bunch of stuff that I didn't get. Don't feel
Did I
bad.
see the castle though? That you was on? Okay.
That was weird. I shot that. I had to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning. I shot that until about 11 o'clock, and then I had to run straight to GH. I had to be there for 10 o'clock, I think, or something. I was supposed to be there for 10, and those were the day that I did GH. That day was the day that I had to tell Emma that she had died. So I was pretty much shot after that. It was fun though. It was a cool day. I was like, man, this is kind of cool, doing 2 shows in one day. Yeah, I've just been kind of around, hanging out. I went back to Canada for a little bit. I'm from Canada, for anybody that doesn't know, and I went there for a little while and hung out, and yeah, I just kind of bounced around, enjoyed my time. I didn't do anything too crazy. I don't think I went anywhere else besides, I've been here, New York, a couple times, and Edmonton. Other than that, I think that's about it.
No one asked me what I've been doing. I've been watching Live with Kelly every morning.
You did talk about, you said
myself.
that.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. You're not by yourself, you have 2 dogs. You're okay.
How was it working with the little girl during those emotions?
Brooklyn. Yeah, it was a breath of fresh air, to be honest. It was like whenever I saw her, it was different, because she doesn't know what's going on, and the good thing is she's like, you know, she it wasn't like, you know, can you fake crying? Can you picture your little dog walking away or leaving? But